Good morning, it's August 4th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. I've been off for about 2 weeks, taking a vacation, but now I'm back. And just when you think Democrats might be starting to figure things out, they trot out one of their leaders and you have to once again shake your head. This past week, Kamala Harris made an appearance on Steve Colbert's Late Show. Now, if you have any doubt as to why both of them are losing, Harris lost the election badly last November, and Colbert is having a show canceled next spring, then you simply had to watch the show and it hits you right in the face. This was the 8th appearance of Harris on The Late Show, and it was once again the same dog and pony show where she cackled on about subjects. She waved her hands around, and it basically knew nothing about what Colbert sat there nodding his head. Only once did he seem to press her when he asked her who was the leader of the Democratic Party. Well, Harris smiled and said there were many leaders. She was not going to name any of them for fear she would leave someone off the list and be in trouble. Point is, there is no leader. The real answer, that is, and the Democrats are consumed with infighting as to the direction of their party. Now, Harris was on The Late Show to promote her new book, 107 Days, which allegedly describes her failed campaign last fall. You remember when she blew through over $1 billion and came up empty? How many of you believe she actually wrote this book? I'm sure she sat down with someone, a ghostwriter, which is normal for politicians who mostly lack any real literary skills, and tried to talk her way through those 107 days. That must have been excruciating for the ghostwriter to try and decipher anything from the word salad comments she would make, coupled with the constant laughing and put into some coherent message to make a book. And during this interview, she never once said what was in the book, suggesting you would have to buy it and read it for yourself, and probably because she herself has not read the book and doesn't know what is actually in print. Those of us who are a bit older can remember when the late night shows were a staple of viewing. Johnny Carson hosted the Tonight Show for years and continually amused us with his boyish antics and stories. He tried to avoid politics, and his goal was to make us want to come back the next night and every night after. When he finally retired, Jay Leno took over, and he continued in the Carson vein and gave us funny stories and amusing interviews. He also stayed out of politics for the most part, and when he ventured in, he went after figures in both parties. David Letterman was pretty similar, although he got a little edgy at the end, but again, he was appealing to the majority of the people and wanted them to watch his show. But that's all changed with the likes of Jimmy Kimmel and Steve Colbert. They're hardcore partisans and strongly believe they have to promote the liberal policy of Democrats. Over the years, they've hosted almost 189 Democratic politicians and managed to get one Republican on since 2022. In their monologues, they show their colors by attacking Republicans with their own ill-fated form of humor. Well, recently, CBS decided enough was enough, and their reason was purely financial. According to the network, it was a bottom-line decision as the program was losing tens of millions of dollars a year on an annual budget of more than $100 million. Colbert was reported being paid $20 million himself and had a staff of over 200 people working on the show. Now, a lot of them are protected by unions and often politics, so once they get in, hard to get rid of them. Now, CBS have to put up this a bit longer, but reports were out that The Late Show's ad revenues had plunged from $120 million in 2018 to $70 million last year. Ratings were sinking, and just because you're the leader in your time slot does not mean much to advertisers. It was so Colbert was averaging 2.1 million viewers, down from a peak of 3.1, but here's the critical point. Less than 200,000 of those were in the critical block of 18 to 49-year-olds that the advertisers covet. Those are the ones they want watching your show. Now, of course, Colbert's friends in the Democratic Party rallied to his defense. 3 progressive senators sent a letter to Skydance CEO Dave Ellison last week questioning whether the media business participated in a secret side deal with Donald Trump to secure federal approval for its merger. They noted that Paramount recently settled a lawsuit with Trump, which CBS had previously called completely without merit, agreeing to pay $16 million to his future presidential library. So Senators Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Ron Wyden argued that the settlement could be construed as bribery and raised additional questions about the decision to cancel Colbert's show just days after the late-night comic suggested on air that the deal resembled bribery. Now, I will tell you what, if they're losing tens of millions every year, that CBS is a company. They're going to have to take a hard look at that. And if I'm one of the other late-night TV show hosts, I'd be polishing up my resume. The viewers that you're seeking are simply not there anymore. The advent of the internet and the burgeoning number of podcasts with both humor and political content give them way more venues to watch, and they can watch them on their own time schedule. And that's what these younger kids are doing. The bottom line, we witnessed why the Democrats have no leader when anyone who watched Kamala Harris looked like a deer caught in the headlights once again. And then you couple that with Colbert, not realizing that his blatant partisan humor was simply turning off half the voters out there, and now both of them will be looking for ways to jumpstart their careers. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the podcast here and you're on TikTok, go look at it on YouTube.